Time now for another edition of the Canalta Hotels AJHL Coaches Show, and I'm pleased to be joined by Drumheller Dragons head coach and GM Kevin Hasselberg. Kevin, thanks a lot for joining me here on this Canalta Hotels Coaches Show. First off, welcome back to the AJHL. It's been quite some time since you've been in the league. I guess first off, what's it like to be back here in Alberta?
It's exciting. This is my hometown, our home province, and it's a little surreal. It's funny how you end up back in Drumheller. It's the Red Deer River Valley, and I was born and raised in Brooks, Alberta, and lived on the Red Deer River Valley. So being back in the friendly confines of the hills and the coulees is it's almost refreshing, and certainly brings you back to some strong childhood memories.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's good to hear. You come to an organization that bit of had a down year, I guess you could say, last season, and they went through a coaching change and a bit of a regime change as well. What were your first impressions of the team you inherited coming in through the off season, getting hired, and seeing what you had to work with heading into camp?
I think it's exciting, and I'm very fortunate under the circumstances to be, inheriting this hockey team. A lot of work went into some transactions, and as much as we'll just call it a transition year more than anything, I think they did a tremendous job of identifying character players that play the game the right way, play the game hard, and now it's just a matter of molding together and forming a team that's going to be successful night in and night out. And full credit to the scouting staff and the coaching staff. I know they were passionate, and they definitely had the gears set in the right motion and the wheels starting to turn. And one of the good indicators of success is when you do come into the organization and you're looking at all the evaluations and you're talking to the players. There wasn't a player that did not want to come back and be a hockey player that wasn't moving on to school. So when you have that in mind, certainly the culture that was already there was one of success and one of future success, which we're going to try to build on this year.
Well, we'll certainly talk about a few of the guys that you have on your roster right now, and off to a really good start. Your team off to a good start, 7-3-1 through the first 11 games. Put your finger on why you guys are second in the division right now.
You know what? These guys like coming to the rink, and when you have a group of players that are passionate about the game and love coming to the rink, and I'll even say they love each other. Like they're a very tight-knit group. Whether it's Tuesday night poker or Sunday night hangout, whatever they got going on, we want to breed that success, and we want to be a part of it and make sure that it also becomes a part of who we are moving forward. So it's tremendous leadership. That's where it starts. You got to have people that believe in the philosophies that you're trying to bring into an organization. And when you have leaders like the ones we have on this organization, as young as they may be and as experienced as they may be, I think they all bring something a little bit different that's going to make the group stronger. And obviously a lot of respect has to come with that, and a lot of responsibility. And whether it's a 99 in Marcus Boguslavsky or a 97 in our captain Andrew Cartouche, each of them bring unique qualities to our program that enhances it and is going to make us better moving forward.
You come from the Southern Professional Hockey League, the Pensacola Ice Flyers, last season, so a bit of a change in scenery, that's for sure, up in Drumheller. But I'll ask you, is there a difference in coaching style when it comes to the pro game and then versus the junior? Do you have to change maybe your demeanor a bit, how you handle certain conversations, or how does it go?
There's similarities and there's differences, and I think the biggest difference is the business side. Okay. In professional hockey, you're entertaining, and you're entertaining in junior hockey as well, but it's the same in the sense that it's all about player development. Our goal was to help our players achieve success at the ECHL level from a professional standpoint, and our goal is for our players to earn success at the NCAA level, the Western Hockey League level, the pro level, whichever direction they may go. But in the professional ranks, as I experienced firsthand, if you're not winning games consistently and often, your job becomes a part of the responsibility of maintaining a livelihood in the business. And our guys played well, they played hard. It just wasn't quite enough for me to be successful down there, but boy, I tell you, it was a lot of fun. the players are the same. You know, when they get to the rink, it's still the same camaraderie, it's still the same jokes, and they're still doing the same things away from the rink. And that's just loving the game. And whether they're 35 or whether they're 16, when they lace the skates up, they're out there with passion, trying to play the game they love and compete and win battles. And so it's not a lot of difference that way, but they are bigger, stronger, no doubt about that.
And you kind of interesting, the bit of a, I guess, a connection between Pensacola and Drumheller. You had Dalton Olson play a game for you, I believe, and ended up with his father and his brother coaching the Dragons, relieving Brian Curran after he departed the team. So an interesting dynamic there. Let's talk about the players that you do have on the team right now. And your leading scorer, Jordan Tolbert, a guy that has had a great start to the season. What's been his, I guess, keys to his success? What is he doing right in his game?
You know what? He's not being so hard on himself. I think with Jordan, if he faces a little adversity in his game, or he experiences a setback, if he allows that to be a part of his life or part of his daily routine, it really affects what he does in practice and what he does in games. And it's just constant reminders with Jordan that he's good at what he does. There's nothing I'm going to teach that kid with regards to skills and vision and hockey sense and creativity. He's got it all. Where he's got to develop is between the ears, and a lot of that just comes down to personal belief. We got to witness one of the most amazing goals. I was going to send it to TSN. I was sure it was going to make it onto the top 10 or onto Sportsnet. Surely Don Cherry would have had something to say about this goal. It was that magnificent. So he has that skill level. He has that creativity. He loves the game. He loves the dressing room. And as long as Jordan focuses on those things and lets those things drive his success, he will be successful. And a lot of it's on his shoulders. If he just goes and plays the game, he's going to be very, very dangerous and very good.
Well, and you have a lot of guys on your roster that are like that, especially that you brought in, the guys like Dawson Berneski or Brett Edwards. But you got some pieces up front that played in Drumheller last year and just learn how to play junior A hockey. What's kind of the identity of the forward group? How would you describe your 12 guys? Well, 12 guys plus, I guess, that you can only slot 12 in at a night. But your forward group, what's their identity? What are they all about?
I think it's an interesting identity. I think we got a team where we can maybe put a little bit of an identity to each line, and that's probably the direction that we're going to go to. We can ice a line with a lot of physicality and a lot of ground and pound and drive and playing the heavy game, and then we can also ice a line that's going to be moving east west and making plays and changing directions and just creating a lot of confusion. So that's exciting as a coach, when you have that dynamic and that differences of players, but also the challenge of bringing those differences together and forming an effective hockey team. It's a lot of fun. So, we've got pieces that we feel we can do a lot of different things with, whether we're meshing them together or whether we're, playing to the strengths of one particular skill set. We're going to try it all. And I think the players are embracing that right now. And then obviously when we get closer to playoffs, we'll solidify things up and move forward. But, you talk about identity, I'll say this right now. We've got an exciting group of forwards. We have a very skilled, talented group of forwards, and we have a very, student-populated group of forwards that want to learn the game and try new things, and we're just going to open the chutes and let them run with it.
And you mentioned, guys that want to learn and a good crop of forwards up front. On the back end, on defense, your D-corps, tops in the league in terms of 1 to 6 and led by Captain Andrew Cartouche. Specifically about him, you mentioned why he is your captain, but what makes him a good leader? Diving a little more into why he's wearing the C.
I think with Andrew, he's now into his 3rd season in the Alberta Junior Hockey League. From an experience standpoint, he knows the league, he knows the teams in the league, he knows the players in the league. And we can lean on that experience, and he can really monitor and manage the dressing room when we're not around. He's a quiet leader. But he plays a loud game when he's on the ice. He's a big presence, and I think he packs a little more punch offensively than what he's been given credit for, and we're trying to bring that out in him. But as a 20-year-old, you really just got to let him play. It's their last kick at the can, and he's driven to play the game at a higher level, and also to experience his final year of junior on a winning high. And we're hoping to provide that for him, but he's going to put in the work, and with that work and those responsibilities of being a leader, he's also going to lead this hockey team to wherever it's going to go.
Well, and another guy that probably will do the same is in goal with Hunter Rostec. And you got two good goaltenders that have experience playing last year with this organization. But for Rostec, great numbers so far early on in the year. Obviously you want him to maintain things, but what is he doing well in between the pipes for you guys?
Everybody knows he can stop the puck, or at least the teams that we've faced so far. We're a team where the way we play, we are going to give up scoring chances, and we're going to lean heavily on our goaltenders until we figure out a way to manage our game defensively with our offense. But and he's done that. He's made some highlight reel saves for us. And the one thing, though, that separates Hunter from everyone else is, in my opinion, is his cool, calm demeanor about the game. And you don't really know it until you're on the ice with him in a practice situation. And I'm sure he does the same thing in games, but you skate by and he's pretty calm and collected and quiet, but he'll give a little shout out to somebody going by and a little woohoo or whatever it might be, or even if somebody scores on him, he'll chuckle about it. And you see those qualities in Carey Price when he's winking at a guy if he's skating by and stuff like that. And I think that's just confidence, and that's personal belief. And when I see a goaltender that has fun in the net like that and has his own little identity, and when he gets into the crease, there's something special there. And it is our hopes that his work, he worked hard in the off season, he's working hard in season, he's got tremendous numbers to start the year here, and he's going to continue to put better numbers up as the year progresses. It's our hopes that pays off in the end, and we see him advance his career to the college level.
All right, a couple more for you, Kevin, because we got to get going. There's a game tonight. At the time we're taping this here in Sherwood Park, expectations for the team this year. Right now, you're in second place, and if you continue the way you're playing and the team above you continues the way they're playing, looks like it's a crash course for that matchup in November for first place between you and the Olds Grizzlys, or Okotoks Oilers, pardon me. A lot of teams with those NCs in this league, but I won't ask you specifically about Okotoks, but just expectations going forward. Do you feel you have the squad to compete right up top for the division title?
Well, early indications show that we can compete with the teams, but I think on the flip side of that, the early indications, at least from my standards, is there's way more parity in the league this year than maybe what there was in the past. You've had a typical team like the Brooks Bandits or the Spruce Grove Saints or the Whitecourt Wolverines that are always near the top, and they are this year too. But on the flip side of that, those same teams are losing to other teams that might be lower in the standards and or in the standings. And I think you measure your success by 10-game segments or 5-game segments. And sure, we're 7-3-1 after the first 10 games or 11 games here. Let's see what we are after the next 10 games. And who knows, like the Olds Grizzlys play a hard, intense, and skilled hockey game. You figure things out, and all of a sudden they string off an 8-game set and win 8 games, and bang, they're into the mix of things. So I like that. I think pressure makes you better, and when you have that kind of parity amongst the league, it's just going to make a more creative and entertaining brand of hockey for our fans, and it's going to sell the game. But as far as our team goes, we've set the bar really high, and rightfully so. And I think it's our responsibility as coaches and the players' responsibilities to form a team that's going to compete on a nightly basis and work hard in practice, and then we'll see what happens. But today we play the Sherwood Park Crusaders in a rink we're not familiar with. Certainly I'm familiar with, and some of the players are, but
watch out for the boards, I'll tell you that.
I'm just looking at that right now thinking, my goodness, this is a square rink. But it's exciting. They're a strong hockey team. A win by them tonight, we got identical records. Yeah. So that's the parity that I'm talking about, and we'll see. We're going to work hard. I know that.
All right, so last one. It's your second tour of duty in the Alberta Junior Hockey League coaching. You were in Olds for the longest time. You were in Alberta Valley in the BCHL. and then you're in the Battlefords in the SGHL. So we got to ask you, what's the difference between the leagues? BC, SJ, say BC is a little more offensive. AJ might be a little more defensive. Saskatchewan maybe not quite the skill level as the other two leagues, but how would you assess things?
I think players are a product of the world they're developed in, is the best way to answer it. And resources play a big factor in that. When you look at Saskatchewan and the population of Saskatchewan, you compare it with the population of Ontario or the population of BC, there is no comparison. And players are players. Saskatchewan players are great players. BC players are great players. Alberta players are great players. And I think you become a little bit of the environment that you've been raised in. So when I think of a Saskatchewan player, I think of outdoor rinks, I think of hay bales, I think of, those are the resources that they use to develop their game. When I think of BC, I think of resources that are not induced by weather. They're developing their weather storms inside buildings, and they're developing technology that's going to develop their game. You could see the school sports really take off in BC, and Alberta's kind of got the best of both worlds. And you got the Rocky Mountains, and you still have that small town feel when you look at the southern parts of Alberta. You got the prairies and whatnot, which is very similar to Saskatchewan. But when you get into Calgary, you got the foothills and Edmonton, the bigger centers. You're seeing more of that same opportunities through resources and the development that way. So at the end of the day, I think a player that invests into his own personal development, whether it's with technology and what technology provides, or whether it's with what the environment provides you have to be driven, you have to be motivated, you have to have goals in mind, and all three are unique. All three are very entertaining and special to me personally, and I know this. I have an opportunity to be in a rink today. A lot of people don't have those opportunities, and I'm certainly going to make the best of it. I'm going to enjoy my time while I still get to be in the game.
Oh, very well said. Kevin Hasselberg, the general manager and head coach of the Drumheller Dragons, joining me on the Canalta Hotels AJHL Coaches Show. Stay tuned throughout the year. We'll have more interviews like this with coaches from around the Alberta Junior Hockey League. Kevin, thanks a lot, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.